Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you all for joining us this Ta'aleem Sunday as we're joined by Imam Omar Shakir and Imam Hanee Amin, two of the pioneers in our community who will be enriching us with the depths of knowledge that they've accumulated over their years of service and learning and dedication to our communities. Today, we're honored to have them with us, and we're so looking forward to hearing all of the wisdom that we have to share. Welcome, Imam Omar Shakir and Imam Hani Al Amin from Masjid Bilal Ibn Rabah.
Thank you, Sister Fatima. Let us open up with Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amin. A translation is, I seek refuge with Allah from Satan, the rejected enemy, and with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. The complete and perfect praise is for Allah, the Lord, keeper, sustainer, evolver of all the systems of knowledge. The merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, sole owner of the day of judgment. Thee alone do we worship, and thine aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, not the way of those who have earned your anger, nor the way of those who have gone astray. Amin. Our greeting is peace. With God, we say God's peace be on you. In Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to begin with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, the complete and perfect praises for Allah, the Lord, keeper, sustainer, evolver of all the systems of knowledge. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah alone. And I bear witness that Muhammad is his slave servant and his messenger. I want to first thank, and I'm going to do this in the way that it came to me. I want to thank my dear friend and colleague, Imam Eugene Farouk, for this gracious invitation. Imam Farouk and I go way back, and I consider him certainly one of my mentors in the prison ministry. We thank him for this invitation. We thank Sister Latifa Muhammad and Sister Fatima Ali, the technicians or the producers, if you will, of today's program. And we certainly want to acknowledge the resident Imam there at Masjid Warathuddin Muhammad, my dear friend and colleague, Imam Dr. Wazir Ali. We give you the greetings again of peace. God's peace be on you. Assalamu alaikum. What I understood for today's program, Imam Farouk had mentioned that he thought it would be good that we did something about the history of Al-Islam in the city of San Antonio. Now, I want to say to you that I first want to commend the Houston community for their Ta'aleem format. Their Ta'aleem format is comprehensive. Their Ta'aleem format is inclusive. And what do I mean? We have Imams Ta'aleem, we have Youth Ta'aleem. This one is the Pioneers Ta'aleem. We have Sisters Ta'aleem. All of this matters. And I commend you all for that vision and that example for us so that we can model that also around the country. That being said, I'd like to begin, and I know we have a limited time, roughly 30 minutes or so. I hope you won't mind if we go 30 and a half minutes. But we do have a rich history that we want to share. And Imam Farouk said I might can go a little over, so I hope that's okay. I want to begin by sharing with you, and brother Hanee also. I'm going to refer to him as Brother Hanee, but I want to say something about that first. Only reason why I'm referring to him as Brother Hanee is out of respect for his sensibilities, sensitivities, and uncomfortableness. But I deliberately asked you to put Imam Hanee Al-Amin in the title because I look at how some of the people who wear the title Imam, and I think to myself, if they can wear it, this brother here who has been resident imam here of this community in San Antonio, and his continued example and model and study and knowledge of the Quran, I say qualifies him for that honor of not only being one of our pioneers, but one of our leaders in our community. He doesn't like it, so I'm going to back away from that, and I'll refer to him as Brother Hanee going forward, so he can be comfortable and give us something good of himself today. Forgive me, Brother Hanee. but you, my brother and an imam, alhamdulillah. That being said, Allah blessed me to come to this religion. I'm not a native of Texas. I grew up in upstate New York, and I embraced Islam in a city called Albany, New York, right near Schenectady, New York, where I grew up. And I know you're going to have to look that up, and you're going to have to practice saying it. But that being said, Allah blessed the religion to come to me through the Nation of Islam. And the way it came through the Nation of Islam, I, as a young teenager, I'm going to say about 13 years old, I went to a community center and I started studying martial arts. And the teacher there was a Muslim, and he was a member of the Nation of Islam, and he was teaching us martial arts. And he incorporated the philosophies and teachings of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a philosophy, along with the disciplines of the physical fighting. Now, I was raised in the Baptist tradition, and I was active in the church, even as a young person. Tried to sing in the choir. You don't want me to do that. I also did something called the Junior Usher Board. I did the Easter speeches and all of that. But there was something missing in me. There was something that wasn't connecting and complete. And just so you have a reference, this was back in the early to mid 1970s when I first got exposed. And you have to appreciate what was our political climate, what was our social climate at that time. Dr. Martin Luther King was just assassinated in 1968. Malcolm X was assassinated in 64, 65. It escapes me. But my point is, we had just come out of what they call the turbulent 60s. So we still are sensing discrimination. We still are sensing oppression. So a message from the Nation of Islam that addresses our humanity, for a Nation of Islam that addresses social justice, etc., is appealing in that time. Now, we're not going to get into whether all of the Aqidah and the beliefs, we're not going to get into all that. We know, or I'll say we're very confident, Allah is the best knower, but we strongly believe that the whole movement of the Nation of Islam was divinely ordained, and Allah used that vehicle to move many of us where we are today. And there's a destiny of Islam in this country, and Allah has a plan for that, and it is still unfolding. Enough of that. So as a young man, caught the tail end of the Nation of Islam around 1974. I'm 15 years old, and joined the junior FOI. I'm attending the conferences. I'm attending the student ministers classes and all of that. What I mean by that is I've always been interested in learning and knowing about Allah, knowing about religion. So in 1975, as you know, a year later, I didn't get well indoctrinated into the nation's teaching, but I got enough of it to let it impact me in such a way that makes me very at home and very comfortable in this movement. Because as you know, February 25th, 1975, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad returned to Allah, and the next day was Savior's Day, February 26, 1975, when Imam Warathuddin Muhammad, may Allah forgive both of them their sins and grant them paradise, was unanimously elected into the leadership. And under Imam Muhammad's leadership, I took the Shahadatain. I learned from one of my first imams who is here in San Antonio. He's a member of this community. My first imam, Abdul Rahim Muhammad. Many of you know who he is. So he was my up close and personal imam, and Imam Walathuddin Muhammad was my distant imam, which over the years, that distance became shorter and shorter, closer and closer, where we were blessed to be in the company of Imam Muhammad and hear from his mouth and understand by Allah's grace his teachings. So that being said, from there, I began my path as an imam. I didn't know it was my path as an imam. I just was interested in learning the religion. And Imam Abdul Rahim Muhammad would have student imams classes, and he would teach us the prayers, and he would teach us public speaking, and he would teach us he would give me the opportunity to open up on the Sunday meetings, give me 10 minutes of fame to open up. And that began my career, again, as a teenager. And by Allah's grace and through my studies and efforts, at the age of 25, the community in Schenectady, New York, elected me their imam there in Schenectady. And then I spent several years there. And then in 1986, I came here to San Antonio. Now I'm giving you the Reader's Digest version, but I was one that would bring the Muhammad Speaks to high school. I'm selling the Muhammad Speaks at the high school, that type of thing. So we thank Allah for that background, that discipline, and that training. And in 1986, I moved with my family here to San Antonio, and we've been here 35 years, and we'll go a little bit more into that history. I'm going to pull back now and let Brother Hanee Amin share something of his story, how he came to this beautiful faith. Brother Hanee?
Hard to follow that one. Okay. I'm going to say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And assalamu alaikum means peace be upon all of us. All of us, peace be upon us. When I came to the religion at Islam, I came a very different way. I came up through the church, and I was part of the choir, and I was part of the worship board, and all this kind of stuff. And I had an experience with one of my Sunday school teachers I had a lot of respect for. I mean, I respect this man and everything he said. He knew the Bible, and he was very religious. We had a class one day in the Sunday school, and we was talking about Cain and Abel, Ham, the sons of Noah. And so in each one of those stories, he was saying that the reason why God cursed Cain by turning him black. That was the story I got. He marked him, and that mark was he was black. We get to Ham, who looked at his father and they saw him and laughed at him, and his two brothers came, and God cursed Ham and all his descendants be servants of his brothers. So I asked my Sunday school teacher, is that true or what? He told me, yeah, this in the Bible is true. But that wasn't in the Bible, just the translation somebody had, but that wasn't in the Bible. So I said, if that's true, then why am I trying to be good? What's the purpose of me trying to be good? So I left the church. There was no reason I'm going to hell anyway. I'm already cursed, so why should I be good? So I became, I guess you call non-religious. Then, as a lot of us have done, I got incarcerated. I got incarcerated for marijuana. Same thing I got incarcerated then, but it's a fine today. But I got incarcerated for marijuana. They gave me 15 years. 15 years. Okay. When I got my time, I'd never been in prison before. I'd never been incarcerated. I'd never been in jail, anything. They gave me 15 years. I left the jail and I went to the prison. And they put me in the Ellis. Ellis unit was where the death row is located. All the inmates have been so bad that Ellis was the last place they go to get disciplined. They put me there first. The first day I went to the field, I go out to the field and they call it, I guess it's strapping the cotton. They're picking up the cotton on the machine left behind. I never picked cotton in my life. So I had the sack between my legs. I didn't know how to hold the cotton sack. So I'm walking the cotton sack between my legs. And so the captain rolled up and said, "What are you doing?" So I looked around, make sure you're talking. I'm talking to you, old thing. That's what he used to talk about those days. This is back in the 60s, in the 70s, when they had building tenders and turnkeys, and all them kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm picking cotton." He said, he called others, come look at this, come look at this. All the rest of them over there looked at it. Said, look at him. They all started laughing. Well, what are you doing? I said, "I'm picking cotton." So he said, you get over there and have me put that cotton sack down and have me packing water around, because he knows what he's doing.
Mm.
So when I'm coming in, going back into our barracks and stuff, he said, "You catch that gate." So I'm walking with the rest of the inmates. I don't know about to catch the gate. That's my first time. I don't know the language of the prison or nothing. He said, "You catch that gate." So I'm walking in behind the rest of them. So this brother came up to me. He said, "Say, brother," he said, "the captain told you to catch the gate." I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "You see those inmates over there? You just go with them." So I went with them. They took me down, put me in the hole. Lock you up, give bread and water for bread. Bread and water, and that's it.
Yes, sir.
Next day they brought me out, no shower, straight back to the field. So the captain that day before, he told me, he said, it came in the next day. He said, where you from? I said, "I'm from San Angelo." He said, "What unit you from?" Because everybody comes from some unit somewhere. "What unit you from?" I said, "Diagnostics." Oh, he thought I'd been a smart butt. I said, "I'm from diagnostics." He said, "I mean, what unit did you come from?" I said, "I come from diagnostics." He said, "You lying to me? You gonna catch all kinds of hell. You catch that gate." I'm catching the gate again. The next day I come out, complete different. He checked my record, came out and said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, what did you do?" I said, "I sold marijuana." He said, "Marijuana?" I said, "Yeah, I have marijuana." He said, "Well, what are you doing over here?" He said, "I looked at your record. You never been in prison." I said, "No." He said, "What are you doing over here?" I said, "Well, I don't have no idea." And so after that, I was just like, I could do wrong. I could disobey the rules because I didn't know the rules, and I would get away with a lot of stuff. But the point I'm making is that brother that told me, "Hey, you go there with them," was a Muslim brother.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed about the difference between the treatment the Muslims had and the non-Muslim had was this: when you're in the field and say some ants get on you, and you want to shake them off, you got to say, "Officer, boss, I'm shaking them off." Or you want to relieve yourself, you got to get permission to relieve yourself. All the other inmates were saying, "Boss, I'm pulling it down. Boss, I'm taking it out from it." The Muslim will say, "Officer, I'm shaking it off. Officer." And that impressed me like a summer gun. So while I was there, I had part of my sentence where I had to go to AA meetings, I had to go to church and all that kind of stuff. So they had one time they said call for Muslim gathering meeting or something. So I said, "I'm going to go down." I went down, and this brother was with me. So I went down with him. I went to the Muslim meeting. And from that day on, I started coming into Al-Islam. Now I got to cut that short where I was time, right? That's how I got introduced to Islam. And when I was in prison, everything began to change for me. I got out, they took me out of the field. They had what they call, I guess it's like a bay or something. Had B1, B2, that's for the Muslims. There's those two things. The difference between being in prison with Muslims and non-Muslims was like day and night.
Mm.
I mean, when I got with the Muslims, you have none of that fighting, none of that hitting on each other, playing games, none of the gambling, none of that stuff. And I always got busted because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm in the field, I'm chopping, I'm always behind because I don't know how to chop kind of, I don't know, so I'm always getting busted. So I'm always standing in a hole. So, but the difference was when I was in the other squad, when I was in the other area, I get busted, they take me out, you take it to the field, they give you maybe 10, 15 minutes or so to go in there and wash yourself up a bit. The difference between there and what a Muslim world, when you come out there, a Muslim had something for you to eat. They had the little stuff ready for you to eat. They had the little spirit ready. And it was so, Muslim had so much influence that the turnkey wasn't a Muslim, but he had plenty of respect for Muslims. So Muslims, we get away to everything. Not get away because we didn't do anything wrong. we had, I mean, that was my experience in with that. Then I came to San Antonio in 1974. I came to San Antonio in 1974. I came to the Masjid. I didn't have a place to stay, you know. So the Imam at that time, it wasn't the Imam, we call him minister, brother minister Joshua Shakir. He was a minister at that time. They had a restaurant, they had a hotel, had a Muhammad's University of Islam, and we had used to call it cameo theater. Everybody standing in the cameo theater. It used to be theater. That's where we had the Sunday meetings and the Wednesday meetings, whatever. Sunday meetings and Tuesday meetings. You know, we prayed, we stood up. Wasn't no prostrating at that time. We were standing up. And we'd have meetings there. In the hotel, like I said, they had the restaurant at the bottom, they had the school, and on the top floor they had, that's where I stayed, on the top floor. They had a fish truck, or two fish trucks really, and we used to buy fish. And then I had a place to stay and a job. My job was selling fish. Muhammad Speak newspaper, everybody had to sell Muhammad Speak newspaper. And we sold dinners and all that kind of stuff. But my main thing was selling fish. That's why I made my living, selling fish. During the time, the Muhammad University of Islam, we call it university, but it was about sixth grade. There were, the school consisted of Muslim plus non-Muslim. Also part of that school. Non-Muslim went to the Islamic Muhammad University of Islam. And so when I got out of prison and I was on parole, they had all these rules. You can't be around this, you can't go to bar, you can't do this, can't do that. And you can't be around ex-inmates. So I stopped and I said, hold it. I said, I'm a Muslim. I said, a lot of the Muslims are ex-convicts. He said, well, that's different. That's what he said, that's different, okay. So this man here, he first have visit, come to your house, then they go to your place of employment. My place of employment was selling fish at the masjid.
Right.
He didn't want to come to the masjid because Muslims hate white people and all this kind of stuff. So he didn't want to come around the Muslims. So he know what we're gonna do. He said, I tell you what, he said, I'm on drive by there. So I said, we go to work from 7 o'clock. He said, I'm gonna drive by about 7:30 and you be there and I just see you work at your workstation. Okay, so I had to stand up there. He drive by there. He did that about a month. Then he said, I want to come to the place and see. Well, now really, Minister Joshua told me, I want you to invite him over. I said, well, I'm inviting him to see what they say. So I told him, I said, people would like to see who my parole officer is. So he said, okay, I'm gonna come by there. He came by there, stayed with them, I think a couple of hours or so. He was so impressed with the Muslims' hospitality that he came and told me, he said, look, from now on, all you have to, I'm gonna get it for you, just write in once a year. You don't have no meeting you, no seeing you to work or nothing, you just write in once a year. I did that for a year. After that, I was out parole.
Allahu Akbar.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Beautiful.
During the time of Minister Joshua, we were selling a lot of fish. I think Brother Farouk, I used to see him go to Houston. We picked that fish up. He was the secretary at the time. Still the secretary. We go to Houston, pick that fish up. But like anything else, when Honorable Muhammad passed away, things began to kind of dissipate a little bit. And so Joshua was replaced, Minister Joshua was replaced by another minister from Tyler, Texas. His name was Jose Abdullah. Now, when Jose Abdullah came to San Antonio, we were still meeting on Wednesdays and Sundays, but the fish business was real slow. But people had other types of jobs they had. And so while we was there, the first person I heard speaking Arabic was him. He recited Al-Fatiha. And we didn't know nothing about Al-Fatiha. That impressed us. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I mean, that really impressed them. None of us knew anything about Arabic. None of us even heard Arabic except on radio or something. And here was a loud minister saying Arabic. We were really impressed by that.
Yes, sir.
Brother Jose didn't last that long. He didn't last that long. Because I don't know what happened, but something happened, but he didn't last long. Then after him became another brother, Imam Abdul Fatihah, and he was from Corpus Christi. He came. He used to be a visiting minister. He came.
Now, excuse me, brother Hanee.
You know?
No.
Okay.
He's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah. I just want to tie that in. Some of you all probably know him, and I think he might frequent the Masjid Talim more than other masajid. But our brother is still alive. I just wanted to make that connection. Yeah.
When that brother came, he came in, and he replaced Brother Jose. Some reason he disappeared, and Naif Fatihah came in. Okay, during his time, we were still at this place where we had the hotel and the Cameo Theater and all that. Okay, we didn't have the fish trucks anymore. So when he came in, he looked and found some property on Hayes Street. He found that property on Hayes Street.
Mm-hmm.
He found that property. He back to the community and asked, and told them, I found some property on Hayes Street. Maybe we want to get that. Okay, now, Brother Joshua had connection with downtown. And so when they began to build St. Paul Square, they just building that. They began to build St. Paul Square. They wanted a Muslim Islamic presence there.
Mm.
They wanted us to have a business, but they wanted us to rent something. And so the Imam Fatihah came in and said, well, we either rent or we can buy our own. And so put it up to vote. The vote was we buy our own.
That's right.
That's right. So we tired of it and we'll buy our own. We went to the place, got the place. And so, okay, I missed the point here.
Go ahead.
Okay, Let me go back a little bit. In the 1960s, High Islam got established here in San Antonio. A brother came here his name was Richard 3X out of Chicago, selling Muhammad Speaks newspaper. He changed his name later to Rashid Zaki. Okay, he came here selling Muhammad Speaks newspaper. They established the first masjid, temple at the time, was established on Gabriel and Givens, about 4 blocks on Hayes Street, about 4 blocks down. Or about right across the street from Wheeler High. We used to be Wheeler High from that school. And he came here and he was I hate to say a handyman, but he was a painter, and he put up sheetrock but he made a living buying houses, refurbishing, and then renting them out. Mm. And he had houses all over town. Mm-hmm. So when we bought that property on Hayes Street, we found about the property on Hayes Street. We went in and gutted it out, and he's the one that directed us on putting up the sheetrock and did all the paint and all that. I didn't know anything about paint. I know nothing. I learned on the job. Learned how to lead, all that kind of stuff. But he did that. Okay. Then on down the line here we have. And this is when things really begin to change for me. This is really when things really changed for me. We had Abdul Fatihah was replaced by Imam Hayward Talib.
Do y'all recognize that name?
By Hayward Talib. When Hayward Talib came here, everything changed. Mm-hmm. Because he came here with Imam Muhammad program, which I'm unfamiliar with. And it's just like coming from night into day. Mm. Because we didn't know nothing. We just here when he came in and he took his program. People used to say, "Boy, Imam Talib, he talked for days." But you hanging on to every word he's saying because he talk, but you listen. He was just throwing stuff out there. He was saying good stuff.
And he's still teaching today, Brother Belly, man, in the Houston area.
In the Houston area.
Still is. Mm-hmm.
But that changed everything for me. And then he had a call back to Houston because they had some problem there with Imam Kamaluddin, some kind of thing going on. So he had to go back. And so he came up and said, well, look here, brother, I want you to be imam. I said, no, but I don't want to be no imam. We had another brother here who had experience of being an imam. I said, you take this brother. No, brother, I want you to be there. I said, no, brother, I don't want to be there. He talked to me about a week. I said, no, brother, no. He said, brother, what? I got to go back to Houston. I got to be there. He said, I tell you what, you give me 3 days. Now he said 3 weeks. Now 3 months. 3 months. That's all you have to do for 3 months, and that's it.
Now, what year was this?
This back in 80, maybe 83, 84, somewhere in there.
Because you was the man when I got here at 86, but go ahead.
So he told me, he said, it'd be 3 years. He said, but 3 months, and then that's all you have to do. So I said, okay, 3 months. Okay, I'll go for 3 months. 3 months turned into 3 years.
Come on. Yes, sir.
3 months turned into 3 years. Well, but praise be to Allah. As much as I hate, standing in front of people, being imam, Allah blessed us to go through. We paid the property off through fundraising and donations and things of that sort. And let me see here. And after me came Imam Kamal Ansari, Houston.
Yes.
Houston represented here, boy.
Yes.
Kamal Ansari from Houston, Texas. He came. He the next Imam. And do we name? I think we named them. I missed the part here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, during the time of Abdul Bai's Fatiha, I became so disenchanted that I wrote a letter to Sheikh James Shabazz in Chicago. I wrote him a letter, and the letter was that we were Muslim Mission Center. We couldn't be a masjid because we didn't have enough people. So we was a center. So I wrote to him, I said, since we don't have enough people, I don't see like any more people coming in, is it worth us being here, or should we just dissolve and just go to Houston or whatever? He sent me a letter back and said, brother, no, don't break up. If Allah wants you to establish that, you will get it. You will grow. That's what he told me. And so I stayed in San Antonio. We were Muslim Mission Center. We began to grow. And then we would name ourselves Masjid Luqman. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Imam Omar is the one who suggested that name. And everybody, oh, that's it. We all jumped on that name, Masjid Luqman on Hayes Street. And that's about it for me.
Okay.
And so then Imam Omar Shakir came, and there we go. We are who we are today. Hope I didn't take too much time.
You're doing great. Takbir.
Allah.
All right, we're 3 minutes over time.
Uh-oh.
So we're gonna move it real quick though. What I want to say, Imam Kamal Ansari was, I think he was your assistant for a while, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And then he moved into the imam spot. I don't quite remember, and maybe you remember what happened, how I got in there, because in 1986, I think by 1987, you all elected me the resident imam.
Kamal Ansari left.
Okay.
He left. He went to school in somewhere.
Okay.
And so we had the election, and your name came up. You were elected.
So I want to do this, and we're not doing this justice, family, but I know particularly like Sister Fatima, one of our producers, is our up and coming leadership and our youth. And in humility, the community today stands on the shoulders of people like Brother Hanee Amin, the sacrifices that was made. And I want to say this, we have always been a small community, and we're still a small community as far as numbers. But as far as spirit, love for the deen, love for Allah, love for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we can stand toe to toe with anyone. So as he said, as a small community, they purchased that property. But not only that, they had programs for their youth. I remember used to be skating parties and campouts. I remember my wife and I took a group to Six Flags in Dallas, Texas, and we chaperoned and stayed a couple of days and had a wonderful time. So I just want to share this with you, and I'm going to fast forward, respecting the time. And then, Sister Fatima, you can let me know if there's any questions there. We want to respect y'all's time. And we may not be doing this justice, but San Antonio has a great history. And yes, we come through the Nation of Islam to El Islam, where we are today. And we're connected with this rich history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and then his son, Imam Warathuddin Muhammad. May Allah forgive them both and grant them paradise. This is who we are and where we're moving. So that being said, I have to share with you something Allah did for us. Without going through all of the details, some of you are aware that that property on Hayes Street that was under our leadership We lost, you don't know this, but for 15 years, there was a new leadership that came in and took that property from us. And we were criticized for that for a while, but that's neither here nor there. We plan, and Allah has already planned, and He's the best of planners. That property was to be our destiny. As Allah would have it, after 15 years, most of us stopped going there. Matter of fact, we lost that property in 1996 and got it back 15 years later. You do the math. In the meantime, we were going to different masajid here, the Islamic Center, other masajid. We were not even meeting as a community of Imam Muhammad. And then in the year 2000, one of my dear colleagues, Imam Mahdi, Dawood Mahdi of now Atlanta, Georgia, came to San Antonio because the son was graduating from Lackland Air Force Base. He sat down in Brother Asmar's living room and said, "What are y'all doing? Why don't y'all reestablish your community?" So in the year 2000, we reestablished meeting in Brother Asmar's living room, Sister Josephine's living room. We're meeting in each other's houses, and we reestablished. But fast forwarding, I don't want to miss the point. Allah decided 15 years later, when we had forgot about Hayes, to give us that property back. The people that took it over never took it out of our name. They left it in our name. Brother Fatih, Imam Fatih's name was there. Brother Hanee, Brother Eddie Ansari, people that are pioneers for this community. That name remained, and it was easy for us to take it back legally because it still belonged to us legally. We couldn't have planned that. Allah planned it. And yes, we turned that property into cash. We sold it for way more than it's worth. Allah blessed us to purchase some land. We flipped that land and got 3 times what that was worth. And this is the situation that blessed us to be where we are today. We started on the east side near downtown, and then on the east side, and we're back on the east side of San Antonio, where we believe our legacy is connected, and we believe we can do the most help for the public and the citizens here on this side of town. Our current location, 530 South W.W. White Road, is near businesses, it's near high schools, it's near elementary schools, middle schools, and this is an up and growing, thriving community. Before we got this place, we were meeting at the public library, just like Masjid Wadaduddin Muhammad was after Hurricane Ike came through there and shut Masjid Wadaduddin Muhammad down. Yes, meeting at the library. We have an excellent relationship with the Muslim American Society. They allowed us to meet at their youth center for over 5 years. In the meantime, we're doing fundraisers. And then we entered an agreement with this property here with a Muslim. And then we made payments, monthly payments, and did more fundraising. And through the contributions and of many of you there that are hearing our voice this morning or this afternoon, Allah blessed us maybe about a year ago. Excuse me if I don't have the time right. We were able to purchase. It was leased with the option to buy. Now we owe nothing. We have bought this property outright. The facility that we're meeting in right here, and we sit on approximately 2 acres of land, plenty of land for expansion, plenty of land for building. And the landlord is a Muslim, and he wants us to have some of the adjoining property. He owns the adjacent lots, and he wants us to work a deal out with him. So we're so grateful, dear family, that the Muslim community of San Antonio, though small in numbers, large in ability, large in energy, when it counts. I say it that way because you see all this snow on the top of my head. I don't have the energy, and Brother Hanee, he no spring chicken either. But Brother Hanee got more energy than all of us put together. Like you said, he painting and all, he's still fixing stuff and hanging stuff and doing stuff. And he always shows up as one of our founding members. So I don't want to go too much longer, but I want you to know that yes, by Allah's permission and His grace and the generosity of Muslims and non-Muslims, we had one non-Muslim lady, I'm not going to give her name, She gave us $20,000 cash towards the purchase of this property. See, Allah is the one that decides. Allah, I had a family come to me recently, and I'm digressing, but I'm making a point. We didn't necessarily help this family at this point, but I immediately made dua to Allah to grant this family relief, to assist this family and help this family. Because at the end of the day, it is only Allah that gives. It is only Allah that protects. It is only Allah that can supply us with our needs. So sometimes we want to not do anything until we can figure it out. No, ask Allah for what you want, then go to work and he'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. He'll figure it out for you. So he decreed, because we failed. We tried to resurrect the Hayes Street property. Allah said, nope, that's not for you. What I mean by resurrected, we were going to remodel it and try to work out of Hayes Street again. Allah said, no, that's not the plan. So we bought an acre and a half of land on Essex Street. We decided, how did we even get into this? The members don't even like this location. Yeah. So Allah blessed us to sell that and triple our money back, maybe even quadruple what we paid for that. I'm saying all this, family, to the glory of Allah. I'm saying that we just have to put forth the effort as Imam Muhammad taught us, radiallahu anh, and Allah takes care of the results. So where are we today? We're debt free on this property. Where are we today? We got a little seed money in the account, but we're also at a point when we will start to do phase 2. And phase 2 has to do with clearing the land. Phase 2 has to do with coming up with architectural drawings and blueprints and plans for the next phase. And Allah has blessed us, and we're very well situated. And we have a wonderful, capable project manager, Brother Doug Small. And he has a team around him that's working with him. And yes, Brother Hanee is involved with that too, as far as Masjid projects. So we could go on and on. We thank Allah for this experience. We thank Allah for allowing us to still be around. And we're praying to Allah to give us more individuals that when he decides that it's time for us to step out of the way and move on, that we have people in place to take us even farther, people in place that have us do even more and more. That's our prayer to Allah. So again, masjidwdm Muhammad, and all of you listening, thank you for this opportunity. Brother Hanee, did you have any closing word? But I just want to say thank you. And if there's any questions that your listeners, your audience has, your viewers have, or you have. But Brother Hanee, was there anything else you wanted to add?
I just want to thank you for inviting me here, and thank the people for accepting us. And you said it all.
Yeah, when Brother Imam Farouk mentioned me, I said, man, we got to get Brother Hanee. He was here. Mm-hmm. And Brother Salim Islam, may Allah grant him paradise. Be pleased with him. He's returned to Allah. We have Sister Carolyn Shakir still around, but our brother here is definitely one I wanted to go to. So, Sister Fatima, talk to me.
Yes, sir. Let me take a look at the comments section to see if we have any questions. And if you haven't asked already, this is a great opportunity to ask our pioneers for any questions that you have on the lecture and wisdom that they just gave.
And Sister Fatima, my prayer is that what we did here is in line with your format. This is what was said to me. I know maybe sometimes the pioneers might teach, but I think it's important for our upcoming generations to know, even though we didn't get into some of the details. One thing about Imam Qasim Ahmed, radiallahu anhu, he used to tell us details of the story and how guns were pulled out on them and different things. The point I'm making is we are not here today without sacrifice. That's the point I'm making. And some of us have lost that spirit. So we want you to appreciate the different ways, because this is all Allah's business. Brother Hanee came to Al-Islam through the prison experience. I came to Islam through martial arts. Other people have their story. But at the end of the day, we're not running anything. Allah's in charge. And he has a plan. And we submit to his plan to the best of our ability. I'm done, sister.
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I don't see any questions. I see many alhamdulillahs. Um, and I see we love Master WD. They're an excellent example of that which we follow. And the acknowledges that yes, lots of sacrifices had to be made to get to where we are today, and that spirit of sacrifice is valuable to remember and not to lose. But no questions. So I think everybody very much enjoyed the uh, talk slash presentation that you guys gave today, and I thought that it was very engaging.
Thank you. Thank you. And much continued success to you and your community there. You all are doing wonderful things. And we're so inspired by what you all are doing. So may Allah continue to bless you and be with you. And I want Brother Hanee to know how much I appreciate him taking this time with us, because like he said, he doesn't really like these kinds of things. But we know that he has a lot to offer. So he's a good teacher also. We just have to give him the opportunity to teach. We love you, Brother Hanee. We appreciate you very much.
Alhamdulillah. It looks like you guys have one question from Brother Akbar saying, will you write a book?
That's my dear Imam in Springfield. He's in Springfield, Massachusetts, but he's kind of bi-coastal. He's got a home here in San Antonio and a home in Springfield. So we appreciate him tuning in today. And he's also a pioneer. He is also one whose shoulder we stand upon. Thank you, Imam Akbar.
Alhamdulillah. One more question. Brother Hanee, how was the response of the general population in San Antonio to the Muslims?
Well, from what I've experienced, it's been great. No problem. I mean, I'm going back a little bit. When we used to sell fish during the Nation of Islam, we sold so much fish that Alaska, which is a fish market, sent the police on us. Candy Andy barred us from going on their lot. But every neighborhood was looking forward to seeing us coming. I mean, they were looking to see us coming. And the people, I remember one experience I had at the food stamp place, and we were selling fish, and this lady did something. She said, "Well, what is fish concept?" The Muslim. Oh yeah, the Muslim. Okay, I trust that.
Allah.
That's kind of reputation we have, and it's even better now than then, because with Imam Omar, we more I can't call it. I hate to use the word society or whatever. We're more into the political thing. More people know us now.
If I may, we have fostered and built great relationships here in San Antonio with the interfaith community and also the civic community. And we have done that as a community over time. So we thank Allah for that. So the relationship is good. And again, there's other masajid here. All praise is due to Allah and in humility. But Masjid Bilal is still the go-to masjid for information and leadership. All praise is due to Allah. Allahu Akbar.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I believe that's all of the questions that we have. Thank you so much, Imam Omar Shakir and Imam Hanee Amin, for both coming on and sharing your stories and your thoughts and your advice and encouragement with us, alhamdulillah. And thank you, Imam Hanee Amin, for jumping on and sharing your thoughts with us, since this is something that you often are not necessarily fond of. But we definitely enjoyed all of the stories that you had to share.
Hmm.
And inshallah, we hope to have both of you on again soon.
Well, thank you. May I close out with dua?
Absolutely.
With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Oh Allah, don't allow our hearts to deviate now that you've guided them aright. We pray for a special mercy from thine own presence, for you are the granter of bounties without measure. We praise you, we thank you. Amin. Thank y'all. Assalamu
Amin.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Everyone stay tuned if you're watching for the weekly announcements. Mm, 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 mm. Let me see. Here are our community announcements. Our virtual khutbah is every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is live streamed on our Facebook and YouTube channels, and you can find the Masjid Muhammad khutbah and the Mercy Community Center khutbah online. Our in-person Jum'ahs are uh, happening once again. They're socially distanced and there are mandatory guidelines to stay safe. To register, go to 10yearold.com/MWDM Jum'ah. Masjid Warithuddin Muhammad is making it easier to donate and help the community to keep growing and working in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are asking 100 believers to commit to donating just $50 a month. Scan the QR code if you're interested. Mercy Community Center also has in-person Jummahs available again. They're socially distanced. And to attend, register at tinyurl.com/MCC Jummah. You have an opportunity to be a part of the Merciful 13 as Masjid Al Quran invites you to help spread the mercy. If you're interested, scan the QR code on screen. Our Ta'aleem public address that you watched today is held every Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have our regular Ta'aleem, our Pioneers Ta'aleem, our Youth Ta'aleem, and our Women's Ta'aleem. Your zakat and donations are needed to support Masjid Warithuddin Muhammad programming. You can donate on the website, Zelle, PayPal, or cashApp. Your zakat and donations are also needed to support Mercy Community Center programming. To donate, go to www.mercycc.org/donation. Aisha Rashid, my cousin, and I are hosting Muslima Nights. It's a social space for young women to meet and socialize. If you're interested, email muslimanights.com. Our new Muslim orientation class is held every Sunday at 3 p.m. And it's held by Imam Elijah Salahuddin. To join, follow the links on screen. Our sisters' Halakha is held every second and fourth Saturday from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's women only, and to gain access, email salimakabil@gmail.com. Our brothers meeting is every third Saturday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's brothers only, and to sign up, go to tinyurl.com/WDM Brothers. There's still time to donate to be featured on the MWDM fundraising donor wall. On the wall, you can have one of Allah's beautiful names represent you or your loved ones. I believe that's all of the announcements for today. Let me double check and see if there are any flyers that I should also show you guys. We have our MCC/Masjid Al Quran Community Appreciation ceremony that we will be holding in honor of Herrick Murray and his 16 years of dedicated service to the community at, at Mercy Community Center. That will be held on August 20th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Mercy Community Center location. The address is shown on screen if you have not been to that location. And let me see. The Imam Fahmi will be offering a public relations, publications, and writers training. This will be conducted by Imam Fahmi Al Uqda. The program will be starting every Sunday. The program will be held every Sunday, and it starts on August 15th and will go on until September 5th. The classes will be held from 11:20 a.m. to 1:20 p.m. and every other Sunday starting on September 19th at the same time. The training classes will include a comprehensive study of industry standards for the structure and writing of press releases, a complete review of the importance of public relations, how to research and categorize subject matter from the language of Imam Warithuddin Muhammad, how to design and produce dawah pamphlets, pocket-sized booklets, and etc. using Microsoft Publisher, and how to construct blogs for dawah and for profit. The prerequisite would be to read the book The Intuitive Edge by Philip Goldberg by August 15th, which is available on Amazon. And all of the classes will be free. They will be held at Masjid Warithuddin Muhammad. And if you are interested in attending, complete the online registration form. Our brother John has produced a cookbook called the Bessie Mae Mac Generational Cookbook. The specialties in it include the watermelon pie and the bean pie that have been in his family. Uh, it's only $15, and the contact information can be the contact information for Brother Talib PM or Brother John Shakir are both featured on the screen. It's local distribution. Local distribution is free, and outside of Houston, shipping rates have an additional cost. Let me see. Are there any other slides? I think that is it. Thank you all so much for attending our Sunday Ta'aleem once again, and we pray you all have a blessed Sunday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.